I've dabbled with the Princess of Darkness mod. We actually did stream it once a while ago on one of the earlier versions of the mod. It has come very far since then. There's been a lot of changes, and I'm very excited to be playing. Because last time we tried it, which was quite some time ago, I was like, it's still feeling kind of rough. But I have dabbled with this version. Well, not this precise build, but effectively this major release version over here, which is not the same version that's currently on Steam. This is the one I believe they're aiming for an early October release with. I think if you're a patron supporter of their mod, then you get access to this at this point, something like that. Some of the devs maybe in chat will let you know who they are. If they're around there, keep an eye out for Essentials, who can probably let you know as well. One thing that's interesting with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke very quickly into the play as your own rule over here, but then we're going to back out to this screen, because it'll make it easier for us to pick some topical characters. The map of Europe here is going to look different than the regular CK3 map. And the reason is the realms that we're dealing with here are not the mortal realms. We don't really care where France thinks its borders are. That's not what we're looking at. Instead, we're talking about realms of influence controlled by the Vampire Society over here, which is why the nation names and the borders are different than the regular Crusader King start, because it doesn't work the same way. There are different power struggles at play over here. Who has control over various... Dr. Acula, I like that. Dr. Acula, didn't that show up in Scrubs? Isn't that JD's novel that he's working on, Dr. Acula? Which is pretty funny. So things will look a little bit different. So here we got the Court of Love, the Thieves of the Black Cross. I mean, some things still have the names: Burgundy, Bavaria, Lombardy. Sure, okay, fine, fair enough. Sardinia, which may be one of the places we start. So some of that is still there. I'm gonna just back up over here to the main menu so we can use the very convenient little bookmark interface to help us pick things. So over here, this is the main bookmark, and if you download the mod today, this is the bookmark that you'll sort of see. But with the newer version that's coming out soon that I have access to over here, we then have these sub bookmarks over here for other characters. And I've discussed before, Toreadors to me will always have a very warm place in my heart because they are the first clan of vampires that I ever played with when I started playing Vampire the Masquerade. Now, this story here is based, it is the world of darkness. Technically, I guess it's Vampire Dark Ages, but that's the same world as Vampire the Masquerade and all those things, right? So if you play Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, obviously things are going to seem very familiar here. Now, I don't personally have any experience with the Dark Ages setting. That which is another book for the tabletop. You can just play the tabletop vampire game in this timeline setting. I don't really know that setting, but I've been trying to look through some of the wikis and stuff and just try to get a bit of a sense about some of the things that are going on in this particular bookmark. I guess vampires just lost control of Constantinople, which is or there was a vampire ruler in Constantinople that was basically sort of keeping everything tight and together. And I guess a lot of that has just fallen apart over here. And one of the struggles that we can go with is attempting to retake Constantinople, which might be one of the goals. Tori's just boneless brew, huh? To me, vampires are supposed to be sexy, right? And that's why I like the Toreador. I think they really embrace that side of being a vampire. I guess the other clan that might give me the most sort of classic vampire feel could be Ventrue, which represents more of the, the dark ruler type of, very, very noble, someone who shows up and you feel their presence, that kind of vampire. To me, those might be the closest to your classic movie vampire or book vampire kind of vibes. Always had a very, very keen spot for the Bruja and the Gangrel. Bruja, I did play when by the way, I LARPed Vampire the Masquerade, which is how Ascension I met. It was a long time ago. And I played a Bruja character, and I do love their vibe a lot. Ascension's played a Gangrel. I haven't, I don't think, but she has, and the Gangrels are very cool. And then you get into the people no one likes, like Tremere. Screw Tremere. Nobody likes them. Ugh, bunch of blood mage bastards. Imagine not being a Nosferatu main. Helena appears to be the most point. So here's the thing. There's a couple of cool things. Originally, so from when I just saw the main bookmark before, and I was like, okay, who's a Toreador? Helen of Troy shows up over here. I'm like, okay, that does sound very cool. We've got some cool story here. But then, what did I do? I loaded up the wiki, I did some reading on a couple of things, and there was another Toreador that sort of stood out when I looked, and that is actually Rosamund of Islington is quite cool, because she was born in Britain, obviously, and ended up over here, and she's got this problem, because there's this other vampire. Now, she's like, I think I remember reading she's just like 8th generation, which in this setting is fairly young when it comes to a vampire thing. Generation is how far you are removed from Cain, the father of all vampires. So Cain is the 1st generation vampire, and so on and so forth. Well, she's got problems with this butt face called Alexander, who's a 4th generation vampire. Methuselah, who was embraced something like 1200 BC or something like that. And apparently, I guess he's kind of enamored with her, but the problem is that he like keeps killing the things he loves. So she's living in fear of this. She's in love with someone else in this area. And, you know, it definitely is starting a little smaller scale. Just a county as opposed to a duchess, which is what Helen of Troy has. Helen of Troy is basically independent and looking to just expand her realm and kick the shit out of her neighbor. Whereas here, you know, we do have a liege that we'd have to sort of play the politics in. So those are quite cool in terms of possibilities. I mean, there's tons of great different characters to play as, but those are 2 that I sort of narrowed down on. So I like that this would be a little smaller, a little harder, okay, potentially a lot harder, and maybe a little bit more political. On the other hand, with Helen of Troy, she's in a much better position to carve out her own destiny as is. So if we're looking at maybe those 2, what's your preference? We can do an official poll, but I just want to get a sense in chat a little bit first. Mm-hmm. Oh, everyone's into the idea of Rosamund. Excellent. All right. That, yeah, quite overwhelmingly. Harder's always better. So knowing that it might all go badly, let's load things up over here. Take a look at the situation. Bum 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 bum. Islington sounds exciting, and more murder too. Nikki. Fantastic. Cain isn't Cain and Abel? Yes. So, the story that some Cainites, some children of the night would have you believe, is that Cain, after murdering his brother Abel, was of course cursed with the mark so that he would never die and cast out of the area and he went into the lands of Nod, right? The city of Nod, which was to the east of wherever they were. I think something like that. It's been a while since I've read my Bible. And the idea is, because of various things he did, and angels coming and bestowing certain curses on him, that he became the first vampire. He was immortal, he couldn't die, he was cursed to maybe fear the sun, those sorts of things. So, he eventually sired 3 children, embraced 3 other people to becoming vampires, and that would form the 2nd generation. Those would then turn around and sire 13 more total vampires of the 3rd generation, the antediluvians. Technically, the 2nd and the 3rd generation are tend to be referred to as the antediluvians. Antediluvian just means before the flood. You know, the whole Noah thing in his boat. But at some point, I think that 3rd generation turned on their parents, destroying them. The 2nd generation are all supposed to be dead. And so the eldest vampires are theoretically these 3rd generations, the 13, which are responsible for 13 major clans, and so on and so forth. And there was, other generations came after that. Those old antediluvians are they're sort of like not around, right? Maybe they never existed. Maybe it's all myth. Maybe they're all sleeping in torpor, waiting to snap out of it for some reason, something Gehenna. Maybe they secretly control everything while being asleep, using psychic powers to manipulate everything that's ever happened in the world. Who knows? Anyway, here we are. We are poor little, what's her name? Rosamund over here. Just trying to see how we can survive in this insanely brutal world that is the nightlife of vampiredom. Mm-hmm. Now one of the antediluvians in the sarcophagus in LaCroix's possession. Yeah, that was the plot point in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, the computer game. I don't think we need to go and hit any of these boutons over here. We're gonna say we're good, but if you are playing the mod for the first time, it's quite useful. So yeah, we live over here. So we do have a county, the county of Mansfield over here, and we bend the knee to Duke Jurgen. Jürgen? I'm gonna go with Jürgen. You guys let me know. Duke Jürgen von Verden, the swordbearer of Anhalt. So he specifically rules in the county of Magdeburg, but runs the Duchy of Anhalt over here. So we bend the knee to him, and then he thereafter bends the knee to Monarch Hardestadt, the Master of Fiefs of the Black Cross. Although there's an interesting thing in the lore wiki that I was reading that some people think maybe these two are actually the same people. It's a whole nother thing. He's actually our soulmate. He's our liege and our soulmate. And one of the things with this mod is all of those signature bookmark characters all have a little bit of special lore. In fact, we can even like literally open the character's lore in here to do some reading, which I'll probably do. And in addition to that, we also have a special decision. We have this love triangle decision, which is unique to us. If Alexander is dead, so Alexander is the absolute cruel shithead who's sort of pursuing us that we figure is probably just going to kill us afterwards. If he's dead and we're still soulmates with Jürgen, we can take the special decision to gain love triumphant for 50 years and get huge bonuses to our piety, prestige, stress. All fantastic. Both of us will get that. And that sounds great. That sounds like something worthy of pursuing. Let's go and take a look at this little run. Now, unfortunately, we don't actually start with like a rivalry or anything like that, although that might make sense, especially if he's trying to pursue us. But he's right next door over here, this guy. I think he was embraced when he was at 16. We were embraced when we were 17. But he's very old. I think he was embraced something like 1200 BC or something like that. 4th generation, very powerful vampire. So his great-granddaddy is Cain. So his sire is Ventru of Clan Ventru, who was the son of Enoch the Wise, or he was the child of Enoch the Wise, who was the child of Cain. So this guy is potentially a very powerful dude. We're going to keep him pinned, because obviously some very relevant things going on over here. So we need to keep track of this. Absolute shithead. Let's just say it. Absolute shithead. Why is she blonde on the shoe screen, but now she's brown? Oh, is the art different on the one screen than this one? I don't know. I mean, we can always just go into the barbershop and change things, but I don't know. What generation is the average kingdom time period? I actually don't know. Anyway, let's read our lore, because one of the things is I don't know when we were embraced, and I don't know if it says what year we're in, because I don't know how long we have been a vampire. A fair English rose, Rosamund was born in Islington to a minor Norman baron. Beautiful even as a child, she came to the attention of a troubadour who praised her beauty to his mistress, Queen Isidue de Blaise. Isidue's court was an exciting new world for the young girl, filled with challenge. I think that was the Court of Love, which is basically France. Filled with challenges and the education of a young French lady. She learned to read and write, comportment and etiquette, and to observe and decipher the politics of court. She knew to appear both modest and coquettish, to spar with her wit and charm with her smile. Rosamund was then introduced to the Paris court as part of the Court of Love scheme to oust tyrannical Alexander from the throne. Rosamund's impact on the disturbed prince, Count Alexander. Count Alexander, he was the Prince of Paris. He is no longer. A little bit salty about that. Rosamund's impact on the disturbed prince proved to be far greater than anyone expected. So great was his fascination with her that the Queens of Love allowed him to take Rosamund into exile with him as something of a consolation prize, a decision on which Rosamund herself was not consulted. The ancient Methuselah, again that's Alexander, Methuselah is just basically indicating he's a 4th generation punk-ass bitch. He's not going to be our friend, man. His obsessive jealousy will settle for nothing less than total possession and absolute adoration from the object of his affections. Yet Rosamund finds her heart drawn once again towards Lord Jürgen, Prince of Magdeburg, and Alexander's reluctant host. So yeah, Alexander also bends the knee to this guy, but basically he's just showing up and renting a room in his house. Whether or not Jürgen wants that to be the case. But now she must rely on everything she's ever learned to help her survive the nights to come, for when his jealousy peaks, Alexander has been known to destroy the thing he most loves. Future fate in canon. Rosamund will survive Alexander's madness thanks to her quick thinking and marry her beloved Jürgen, but there's no happy ending for the children of Cain. Alright, so that's sort of our situation that we're going to have to deal with over here. Except I think the Toreador. Maybe he's a Ventru. No, Toreadors are cool. Ventrus are, well, I guess the person that Rosamund loves is a Ventru. So fine, they're not all bad. I guess. Maybe. No, I'm not doing Legendary this weekend, Klingon. I am going to be away visiting my sister this weekend, as I've been mentioning for the last few streams. So, first question, should we marry Jurgen right away? Or should we do the single life for a little bit? I don't know. We had a variety of new mechanics in here. We've got Hunger, we've got Masquerade. So Masquerade is indicating how much the peasantry suspects that we are a vampire. And then there's Hunger over here. We'll generally be a little bit hungry all the time. Even if, unless we, maybe we might have to like fully kill someone to satiate this. It depends. What's our blood potency? Okay, only blood potency 2. We are not a powerful vampire. This is one of the big differences with if we had played as Helena. Helena's actually like a badass. Blood potency 5. She is incredibly powerful with stupid stats, and lots of different disciplines that she is an expert in. We are nowhere close to that powerful. We have access to Presence, Celerity, and Dominate, which I believe are... Did I say Potence or Presence? Presence is what I meant. Presence, Celerity, and Dominate, which are the 3 normal disciplines, as far as I know, of the Toreador clan. Yeah. Oh, no! Wait! We don't have Auspex! Because it's Presence, Celerity, and Auspex, classically. It might be different in a Dark Ages setting, which, again, I don't have a lot of experience with. But in the Vampire Masquerade, more modern setting, it would be Presence, Celerity, and Auspex. So we've got access to those disciplines, which we can try to master if we want to use for various things. But yeah, our stats, I mean, it's not bad. We got a 24 freaking diplomacy. We do have Gray Eminence as a trait, which is wonderful. And of course, we are, just achingly beautiful, which is wonderful. There's no Sabat because there's no Camarilla either. That just hasn't been formed yet. So who knows what's going to shake out down the road. Compassionate, gregarious, and patient. Compassionate might be slightly annoying because there are certain decisions we're going to want to take where compassionate is going to be was going to cause us some stress. Also, the religion system in this is very different. How it works, it's. I don't 100% grok it completely, but there's basically just like, when you're undead and do you believe in a god? Don't you? And more importantly, perhaps, is what kind of philosophy are you taking with you into your undead life? Because obviously, the morals and ethics and things like that, and the faiths of the living, that kind of gets shaken up when you suddenly find out that there is such a thing as immortal vampires and all the rules are completely different than what you thought. So currently our faith is Via Regalis. And for that, we've got Oath Sworn as one of our tenets here. So reduce law cost by 10% for each first shoot. Law goes up. Vassal and counties are less likely to join factions against a virtuous ruler. More likely against a sinful, sure. It makes just a virtue. It makes arbitrary and oathbreaker a sin. There's also high clans over here. Makes the following traits virtues. So Bruja, Capdocians, Lasombra, Toreador, Tzimitzi, and Ventru are considered, I guess, the good clans. So being that is positive. So that's, I guess, who we're going to be friends with. I don't know why the Tzimitzi are included in this. Those people are fucked up, but sure, whatever. And then control and conviction over here as well. So again, just virtues and sins are going to be tweaked. There's a few, different things over here. Diablerie. Oh, I'm sure we're never going to do any of that. Unless we want to get a bit more powerful. We'll see. You learn and you want. Some start with non-clan disciplines. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I didn't know if you needed at least the base one to be able to unlock certain things. Because I thought that was the case maybe in an earlier build, but I might be wrong. Like, if we want to learn blood magic, could we just do it, or do we need a base trait before we start moving forward? I don't know. Yeah, they're not good clans, they're high clans. Right. They're the fancy-ass clans, the ones that are considered a bit more regal. Love how the Alexandria ain't hidden. Okay, this, I'm using an outliner mod. Extended Outliner, which is mostly convenient for managing your armies, and it's not officially supported by the base vampire mod. So this age here is obviously doesn't apply. Like 1170, like, okay, so he's 50 years old? No, he's not. That's definitely not how it works. That number we can basically just ignore. It's probably leftover data from something else. All we know is that he's extremely, extremely ancient. So if we check on ourselves, so 41. Okay, so I guess that tells us everything, because if I recall, she was embraced when she was 17, so she's been a vampire for 34 years? 24 years? Math is hard. She's been a vampire for 24 years, which is not a very long time. Excellent. Oh, if that's his age, 17, 70, but that doesn't make any sense either, because he was embraced, again, about 1200 BC. So, yeah, maybe that was his age, but it's probably at a certain point. They probably just hard code in something where it's like question marks, and just bypass that display, so we can ignore that. So yeah, it's definitely incorrect, because he's at least 2,000 years old. Okay. Build and play on blood magic didn't need a base trait, but you don't get a missing trait error message, so it looks like you learned blood magic at all. Okay, well, we'll see how it goes. We do have to pick a lifestyle. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to pause for a sec, because we're going to get into the pop-up in a second. Right here. So we're going to get another one out of this. Lands of Kings and Warlocks. The undisputed heart of Clan Ventrue. Germany is firmly in the hands of Hardestadt, which is probably not how his name is pronounced, but oh well, deal with it. Still, even his rule isn't unchallenged by pretenders like Julia Anastasia of Western Germany, or the elusive Il Reiniger of Bavaria. To the south, the usurpers of Clan Tremere have a precarious position, with the vicious Tzimisce of Eastern Europe closing fast on their strongholds. Their defensive accord with the mighty Ventrue is perhaps their only lifeline. Close by lies Alexander of Paris, the exiled prince of France and a total butthead, a powerful vampire by his own right, but alone politically. Hardestadt must act quickly, quelling the ambitions of his child Jürgen, who's our love, destroying Julia and Il's Isle, I don't know, power bases, and securing his western front with or without Tremere's help. Germany will be the crown jewel of Clan Ventrue, or burn trying. And Rome is a fading memory. The future is here. There we go. So we get this question here. How do we feed? How do we feed? What do we use? What tools do we primarily utilize for the hunt? It feels like maybe charm is the vibe we should go for. Everyone says charm. Yeah, I mean, we're Toreador. We're super pretty. We've got great diplomacy skills. Charm it has got to be. But then we get another question. So I convinced the kind to give up I just convinced them to give me their blood. Right? There's Siren. I don't know if it gives you extra flavor text for it. We gain a secret, predator type Siren, increase our diplomacy by 1. We gain the trait Fortitude, which is nice because we don't have access to that right now. We could also go with Gentry. So I think we just feed on like our court kind of thing is the vibe with this, maybe? I'm not sure. Gives a minor noble. There's Cultist, where we literally have a cult. The problem with it is there's always a little bit of masquerade exposure. Then there's Consensualist, where it's like, the people we feed from know we're a vampire, and they're okay with it. Again, we can never reduce our masquerade exposure below suspicious, because some humans clearly know what we are. Cultist could be fun. Like, Siren is certainly just the best fit overall. Cult of Whiskey and Chocolate. I don't know what the cult is going to be like. Does give us the trait Blood Sorcery, though. Although, Consensualist gives us Auspex, Siren gives us Fortitude. Gentry is the only one that doesn't give us a trait, which is unfortunate. Maybe, should we do a poll? Let's do a poll for Siren versus Cultist. Where's my poll? Manage poll. New poll. How do we feed Siren Cultist? Start poll. There you go. You should have a pop-up in chat to access the poll that you can vote on. You can help sway things by spending your Petra points. Cult of Hangover Chocolate. No third option. No, I went Siren or Cultist, I think. I don't think I'm going to go Gentry or Consensualist. I don't think that's the vibe. Okay, about 30 seconds left. Vote early, vote often. Oh no, Essential, I'm sorry. Should I done it with, maybe I should have left all 4 options in there. Okay, hold on. Hold on. We're going to cancel the poll. I'm going to cancel the poll. We're going to do it again. We're going to do it with all 4 options. Poll is canceled. Siren, Gentry. I may have misjudged the interest in consensualist. Consensualist. Start poll. All right, new poll has just begun. You should get your points refunded because I deleted the poll. I didn't end it. I just deleted it. So I hope your points got refunded. All 4 options are now available. Cult with you bloodthirsty in a herd. That's... Yeah, I mean, you can make a herd out of... You can herdify just random people you find as well, but it is interesting to start with one. That's true. I should not listen to your wife who's an actual vampire. Okay, we got about 20 seconds left in this poll. Bum 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 bum. Da, 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 da. Will we have a runoff after this? Nope. I'm gonna go first past the post because if it's good enough for democracy, it's also completely broken and stupid here. Viewing results. Siren wins with 40%. Okay, you know what? Maybe we'll have to do a runoff because Siren's at 40%, Consensualist is at, or Cultist is at 37%. Gentry's 0%. Well, just over 0. It's got 13 votes, and Consensualist is at 22. I do feel like we might need a runoff here. That's too tight. See? I should have just stuck with the first poll. Why would I listen to chat? Why would I listen to anyone else? Siren and Cultist runoff vote is happening. Just the top 2. Okay, this is the final poll. I swear. Siren was already running. Man, I should have looked at the results of the first poll just to get a sense of maybe I wouldn't have needed to do the runoff. Viewing results. Let's see them come in. Oh, it is tight. Oh my god, it's literally 50-50 right now between Siren and Cultist. If you think your vote doesn't matter, well, clearly I haven't gerrymandered the chat enough. I'll try harder next time. Gortek, there's one coming out today for Croatia. It's already been scheduled. I don't know what the release time is. I think it might come out in 3 hours, actually. Where is it? Scheduled? Yeah, sorry, not 3 hours. It comes out in 30 minutes. I was going to say it comes out at 3. I just said it wrong. Okay, where's the view results? 3, 2, 1, done. View results. Wow, 51% to 49%. That's unbelievably close, but the Siren has won. Just barely, but it got in there. All right. Siren it is. Boop. Does give us the Fortitude trait, which will increase our prowess, which we'll use when we Diablerize Alexander or something like that. Story so far. Fair Rosamund, here you are in Magdeburg, almost abducted by the exiled Methuselah Alexander. The once ruler of France says that he loves you, but you know that his cold heart will one night be angered enough to destroy you, as he did with his previous soulmates. You need allies. And who better than the bold Jürgen von Verden? You have known him for a while now, and you both are very fond of each other. But your love won't be able to truly grow, even if you married him, until Alexander is dealt with once and for all. You have been taught well, and you are no helpless damsel, Rosamund. You know what to do. We need to go and kick some ass is what we need to do. I feel like I'm going to marry Jürgen right away. I think I like that idea. You know, because I love... Maybe we can get a little bit, stronger bond together. Let's do it. So we're going to say, hey, how about I marry you? The marriage doesn't matter so much here because, again, we don't have natural-born children, but I will put it in as a matrilineal marriage, which he doesn't care about. I think even maybe base CK3, they may not care about the type of marriage so much if it's impossible for people to have children, because, yeah, chance of children is none. Bum, 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 bum. Marrying for love and CK3. I know, right? Yeah, I mean, marriages do create alliances. You're right. We could go and look for something else. No. I'm going to marry him. I'm young. I'm only 41. I'm like a neonate still. I don't know the larger implications of the world. Plus, he is technically my liege, so maybe we can use that to get a little bit more influence over him. I'm just saying.